For more than 10 years, I've been travelling the world teaching English. My name's Matt, I'm an English tutor from the UK, and welcome to the Ing2 podcast, where I help you improve your English by sharing my stories and those of English teachers and students from all around the world. Hey everyone, you're listening to the Ing2 podcast, and this is Matt. And in today's episode, we're going to be learning some idioms and phrases that are related to birthdays and age in English. We're also going to be looking at different ways that you can wish somebody a happy birthday in English, both in formal English and modern slang English, and even in texting English as well. So as you can probably guess from all the birthday and age-related language that we're going to learn in today's episode, I'm going to be telling you the story of my birthday. And in fact, it was a special birthday. I turned 30 earlier this year. And of course, as always with this podcast, there's a story related to travel in there as well. So I did some traveling on my 30th birthday this year, but not everything went to plan. There were a few surprises. So the plan for today is that I'm going to talk a little bit about turning 30 and the attitudes that we have in the UK towards this age. Then I'm going to tell you the story of my 30th birthday and what happened, what went wrong, what I learned from it. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about how I used these things that went wrong and turned them into positives, and how you can do a similar thing when it comes to learning English when things maybe don't quite go to plan. Of course, we've got lots of phrases, new vocabulary to learn as we're going through the discussion today. Let's get into it. Let's do it. So in the UK, like most countries, we have a few special birthdays. So 16 is quite a special birthday because when you're 16, you can drive, you can work, and you can buy cigarettes if you want to. 18 is also a big birthday, definitely in the UK, because when you're 18, you could drink alcohol in a pub. And then every 10 years is also quite a big birthday. So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so on. And of course, if you make it to 100, then that's a really big birthday. And whoever is the current king or queen, they will send you a card when you get to 100. This year, I turned 30. And 30 is quite a big birthday in the UK. For the wrong reasons, I think. So a lot of people have the attitude or the opinion that when you hit 30, you're not really young anymore. You're getting on a bit. And there's a really nice phrase, guys, to be getting on a bit. It means you're getting older. It's quite a polite, it's quite a jokey, sarcastic way of saying, oh, you're getting a little bit older. So maybe some people might say to you, you're 30 now, you're not young anymore, you're starting to get on a little bit. Okay, so to get on a little bit, or to be getting on a little bit, like a polite, a fun, a jokey way of saying you're getting a bit old. Yeah, I don't know if you have this opinion in other countries, but it's kind of like when you're a teenager and when you're in your 20s, you're young. You can make mistakes, you can experiment, you can try different things, but when you get to 30, you should feel like you're older now. And for a lot of people, they are quite worried or they're quite afraid of getting to 30. There's a really big thing about becoming 30 and feeling like you're old. But I have to be honest, I don't think it's true. So I turned 30 earlier this year. I'm now 30 and a half, let's say, because my birthday is in March and I'm recording this now in October. So yeah, just over 30 and a half years old. And I don't think it's true. In fact, I feel like I'm still in my prime. Okay, some people say that when you get to 30, you're past your prime, but I think I'm still in my prime. And there's another really nice phrase, guys. So to be in your prime means to be at your best, at your highest level. So people often say that you're in your prime in your 20s, right? It's when your body is the strongest and the fittest and the healthiest. It's when you have the most energy. Maybe it's when your mind is working the best. So maybe you're in your prime in your 20s, like you're in your best years. And another phrase is to be past your prime. Okay, so when you're getting a little bit older, people might say you're past your prime now. So your best years are behind you and now you're kind of going down. So a really good phrase, to be in your prime or to be past your prime. Anyway, I'm 30 and I think I'm still in my prime. I definitely feel like that anyway. I think in terms of like physical fitness, I'm definitely in my prime and I feel good. So I don't believe that when you get to 30, you're past your prime. And anyway, who really cares how old you are? I don't think it matters. I think age is just a number anyway, right? And there's another really nice phrase for you. Age is just a number. We might have heard this one before. When we say age is just a number, we're saying I shouldn't be identified by how old I am. It's just a number. It doesn't make me who I am. And people of every age are different, right? So you might be 60 or 70 years old and feel really fit and healthy. Age is just a number. It's not important how old you are. Anyway, this year I had my 30th birthday, and of course on this podcast we try to learn English as we're talking about travel. And my 30th birthday this year involved a lot of travel, and it actually was one of my most memorable travel stories. In the previous episode, we talked about a sticky situation, right? So where something goes wrong and you're in trouble. And actually, I got in a little bit of a sticky situation again on my 30th birthday this year. And I'm going to tell you the story of that now. So I was really excited for my 30th birthday actually, because we were leaving Vietnam on the 19th of March and we should have been arriving in Sri Lanka on the 20th of March, which is actually my birthday, the 20th of March. And I was so excited to go to Sri Lanka because I'd never been there before, and everything that I read about it just told me that I was gonna love this place. I read all about the nature and the wildlife, the animals, the beaches, the food, and I was really, really excited. I was also planning to take 2 weeks off work and have a real holiday in Sri Lanka. So most of the places we've been talking about on the podcast so far have been places that I've been living and working in. But in Sri Lanka, we planned to stop working for 2 weeks and just travel. So I was so excited. I had a great time in Vietnam, but I was really excited for my 30th birthday and to travel around Sri Lanka. So we packed up all of our stuff and we got a taxi from our Airbnb in Hanoi to the airport. We were there nice and early. Everything was good. We checked in our bags and we got ready to get on our flight. But as we were waiting for the flight, we noticed that there was a delay. It was okay though, we still had plenty of time. We were actually flying from Hanoi to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and in Kuala Lumpur we had to transfer onto another flight from Kuala Lumpur to Sri Lanka. Transfer, guys, is an important word when we're traveling. It just means to change aeroplane in the airport. And this was a direct transfer. That means we didn't have to collect our bags in Kuala Lumpur, but we could just go into the airport, get onto the next plane, and our bags would be automatically put onto the next plane for us. So that's a direct transfer. If you have to collect your bags yourself in the airport and check them in again for the second flight, this is called a self-transfer. So direct transfer and self-transfer. So the first flight was a little bit delayed, but it's okay. We had plenty of time in Kuala Lumpur to get onto our second flight. But then we noticed that the flight was delayed even further. And it actually ended up being delayed for about 2 hours. So when we finally got onto the flight, we were really nervous. We were thinking, are we going to have enough time when we get to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia to get onto our second flight? So we were sat on the plane, we took the journey, and as we landed, we were getting really nervous. We had 1 hour. So our plane touched down in Kuala Lumpur, and we had 1 hour to get onto the next flight. Touchdown is a nice phrasal verb. It just means when the plane comes back to the land. So touchdown is the opposite of take off, which means when the plane goes up. So we touched down in Kuala Lumpur. We had only 1 hour to get onto the next flight to Sri Lanka. So we ran through the airport as fast as we could. This is the first time this ever happened to me. And there were a lot of people running as well. We got into the airport, we found the gate, but as we got to the gate, we saw there were no people there. Nobody was waiting. And on the screen outside of the gate, it didn't have our flight number anymore. So we were a little bit stressed, I guess, a little bit nervous, but we still didn't know if we'd missed the flight or not. We were flying with Air Asia, so we found the Air Asia help desk and we asked them, and they confirmed that unfortunately we had missed the flight. So this was the first time this had ever happened to me, and I didn't really know what happens next. I didn't know what the process was. And the guy on the Air Asia information desk informed us that there was actually only 1 flight per day from Kuala Lumpur to Sri Lanka, and it was at 9 p.m. at night. So right now we were in the airport in Kuala Lumpur. It was, just past 9 p.m. and the next flight to Sri Lanka would not leave until 9 p.m. the next day. So I thought, okay, what do we do? How does this work? But actually, it was really easy. So Air Asia gave us a free stay in a hotel very close to Kuala Lumpur airport. We also got a free dinner and a free breakfast in the hotel. And of course, we could get on the flight the next day for free. Now, of course, the next day was my birthday. But I actually wasn't too gutted about this. I quite like it when things don't go the way you expect. And I had a really good surprise birthday. So we checked into the hotel that Air Asia gave us, and it was okay. We had our free dinner, which was also quite good. In the morning, we got up for our free breakfast. And if you've listened to previous podcast episodes, you know I love a buffet breakfast. And it was a buffet breakfast. We had that for free. And then we had the full day to explore Kuala Lumpur. So I really didn't expect my birthday to go this way. I expected to be in Sri Lanka, but actually it was really fun and it was an exciting adventure. It was the second time I'd been to Kuala Lumpur, but it was kind of nice because me and Michelle had one of our first holidays together in Malaysia in 2016, I think. So we visited Kuala Lumpur in 2016, and it was kind of the first time we'd been on holiday together. So it felt quite nice to be walking around Kuala Lumpur again, looking at the places that we visited on that holiday, and it was all happening on my 30th birthday. It was a really special day. So Kuala Lumpur is quite a cool city, but I can't say there are so many things to see. We went to the Petronas Towers, which is a really famous building in the city. Maybe you've seen it. It has 2 very modern looking towers and it's a big skyscraper. We walked around the city. We had tea tarik, which is like a Malaysian iced tea, which they serve to you in a bag. So it doesn't come in a cup or a glass, but it's like a plastic bag full of iced tea, and it's really, really good. And that brought back a lot of memories of our first trip there in 2016. We also had some great Malaysian food and walked around Kuala Lumpur's Chinatown. But one of the best things and one of the best gifts that I got on that day was Michelle, my girlfriend. She showed me a video that she'd made in which all of my friends and family had recorded like a short birthday message for me, and she'd put it together into one long video. So I sat there in the hotel in Kuala Lumpur Remember, I really didn't expect to be sitting in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia on my 30th birthday. But I sat there and I watched this video of all of my friends and family who I hadn't seen for a long time wishing me a happy birthday. And that was one of the most memorable parts and one of the best parts of the day as well. And I think it's a good time now, guys, as I think back on that video, to think about different ways to wish somebody a happy birthday in English. So we all know that we can say happy birthday, right, on your birthday. But there are other ways that we can wish somebody a happy birthday too. So some of the older members of my family, some older aunties and my grandpa and grandma, they're a little bit more old-fashioned and a little bit more formal. So in their video messages, a lot of them said to me, best wishes, Matt, all the best, Matt, and even many happy returns on your birthday. So these are three slightly more old-fashioned ways to say happy birthday. Best wishes, all the best, and many happy returns. To be honest, I would say that best wishes and all the best are really quite common, but many happy returns is quite formal, and it was only the older family members who are a little bit more traditional that used that one to wish me a happy birthday. Now, some of my friends then, who are of a more similar age, a lot of them wished me happy 30th. So they said, happy 30th, Matt. And that's another really common way to wish somebody a happy birthday these days. We don't actually say happy birthday, but we say happy and the age that that person is becoming. So if it's your 21st birthday, you would say happy 21st. If it's your 50th birthday, you can say happy 50th. And that's a really common way to wish somebody a happy birthday these days. Also, a lot of my friends, they didn't even really say happy birthday. They just said like, have a great time in Sri Lanka. Have a great day in Sri Lanka. Have a sick time on your birthday. Okay, so it's also really common, instead of just saying happy birthday, it's really common to say, have a great day, have an amazing day. Remember, all of my friends and family, like me, expected that I would be in Sri Lanka on my birthday. So most of the messages were saying, have a great time in Sri Lanka. The final one that I said there that a lot of my friends wished me was, have a sick time in Sri Lanka. And sick, this word sick, is common British slang which is used by a lot of younger people, and it means very, very good. So have a sick time, it just means have a really good time, have a great time. It's quite a strange one, isn't it? And actually, now I'm 30, maybe I'm too old to use that one. It's a phrase that younger people use more often. So sick means really, really good in British slang. And apart from this video message that Michelle had made for me, I also got a lot of WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram messages from friends and family as well. And sometimes when we wish somebody happy birthday by message like that, we use even more different phrases. So I've got one cousin and he doesn't speak very much, you know, he doesn't like to talk a lot. So he just sent me a message which was HBD. Just 3 letters, HBD. And of course, this stands for happy birthday, right? So if you want to, you could just text somebody or Facebook message or WhatsApp message somebody saying HBD, if that's your style. To be honest, I think that's a little bit cold, right? It's not very friendly, but it's also quite funny because this cousin, he's always like that and we make jokes about that. So HBD. But maybe a more common way to wish somebody happy birthday on a text message or a WhatsApp message is just to say happy B-day. So instead of writing the full word birthday, we just write B-day. And this is really common, happy B-day. And even this phrase has kind of moved from being a phrase that we only use when messaging. It's becoming a phrase that we use in spoken English as well. So you might even hear some people wish you happy B-day, all right? And that's not rare anymore, that's quite common. So many different ways to be wished happy birthday then, both on the video message and in WhatsApp messages that I received. And what a birthday it was. Very, very memorable day. Maybe not for the reasons that I expected, but it was definitely a 30th birthday that I will never forget. Anyway, at the end of the day, everything did go to plan. So that night we were able to get on our flight from Malaysia to Sri Lanka, and we landed in Colombo, the capital city of Sri Lanka, very late at night on my 30th birthday. And I was really excited to start our journey around this country, and we'll be talking about that in the next few podcast episodes. Anyway, guys, I think this is a really good point in which I can relate my experience on my birthday to the process of language learning. Okay, so on my birthday, not everything went to plan. In fact, the whole thing went pretty badly. It went totally wrong. But in the end, I took the positives out of the experience, and it was a day that I will never ever forget. And I think we can take the same attitude when it comes to learning English. So sometimes when we're learning English, things go wrong, right? Maybe we try to use a new word and we make a mistake. Maybe we have a conversation with a native speaker, it doesn't go well and we feel embarrassed. Or maybe we take a test like IELTS and we don't get the score that we wanted. But I think it's really important to try to take the positives out of these experiences. So let's take that example of you're trying to have a conversation with a native speaker and it doesn't go well, or they don't understand you clearly, or you don't understand them clearly. What positives can we take out of that? Well, firstly, we can take the positive that you tried, right? Some people never even try because they're too nervous. So take that positive out of it. You tried, it didn't go well, but you can try again next time and it'll go better. Also, of course, and a really big one with language learning is mistakes. If we make mistakes when we're speaking to a native speaker or in any situation, we can learn from them later. And that's something I really tried to apply to my Chinese learning. I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast before, but I speak a little bit of Chinese and I've been learning it for a very long time. And when I was living and working in China, I tried to always learn from the mistakes that I made and never get too embarrassed about them. It doesn't matter. You can laugh about it later as long as you learn from it. And what about tests as well? So I teach a lot of students these days who are taking IELTS. And very often when they're taking the IELTS test, they don't get the score that they need or want. Now, some students get really down about that, but my job is to make them see that actually taking IELTS for the first time, although you didn't get the score you wanted, it can really benefit you the next time. So take the positives out of the experience. Now you know what the test is like and you know how it feels to take the test and be in that environment. Next time you take it, you're going to be in a much better position to do better with it. So I'm trying to make a link here between my experience on my birthday and the experience of learning English. And I think the lesson that we can take is when things don't go well or when things go wrong, try to take the positives out of it and learn from it. Another thing that we can take from this story, let's say, is that you're never too old to start, or you're never too old to keep going either. So you might feel like your best years are behind you and it's too late to start learning English, or it's too late to take learning English seriously. But honestly, from my experience so far, I've hit this age 30 where many people in the UK think you're old now. And honestly, I don't feel any different. And in fact, I feel like my best years are still ahead of me. So I've still got a lot of things that I can learn and a lot of things that I can do. There's a good phrase, guys. Again, your best years are behind you or your best years are ahead of you. If your best years are behind you, it means that the best years of your life are already finished. I don't think that's a good way to look at it though. A better way to look at it is to think your best years are still ahead of you, which means that the best years of your life are still to come in the future. So don't think that your best years are behind you and it's too late. It's never too late to improve your English or to achieve any English learning goals that you might have. And that's another lesson that I think we can take from this story as well. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to the story of my 30th birthday. We had some nice phrases that related to age and birthdays today, and we also had a lot of different phrases that you can use to wish somebody a happy birthday as well. Give those ones a try. Remember, don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you do make a mistake, don't be embarrassed. Learn from it, and even let me know how you get on with using those phrases if you do use them as well. We didn't focus too much on the traveling side of things today, but we will definitely be getting back into that next time. So we're looking at my holiday, my trip around Sri Lanka, which was one of the best I've ever taken in my life. Sri Lanka was one of my favorite countries that I've ever been to, and I can't wait to share some of those stories with you starting next week. And of course, we'll be learning English in the process as well. Have a great week, everybody. Take care and see you next time.